Hey there, treasure hunters! Welcome back to the channel where rare coins meet big money. Today, we're diving into the mysterious world of the Australian 2-cent coin. This isn't just pocket change, it could be your million-dollar discovery. If you love uncovering hidden gems and turning pocket change into fortune, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. First up, we explore the most expensive Australian 2-cent piece from 1972, coppery brown, smooth-edged and faintly worn. It had the familiar face of Queen Elizabeth II on one side and the dramatic frill of a lizard frozen in mid-flare on the other. But here's where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, because that very coin, often overlooked and dismissed as pocket change, could secretly be worth a fortune. Today, we dive deep into the mystery and majesty of the 1972 Australian 2-cent coin, a relic tied not only to numismatic beauty, but also to a nation's bicentennial spirit, and one that, in the right condition, has fetched astonishing figures in the collector's market. First minted in 1966 and discontinued in 1992, the Australian 2-cent coin had a short but fascinating run, but 1972 marked a particularly rare and unusual chapter in this coin's story. While not officially branded as a bicentennial coin in the traditional sense, Australia's bicentenary was in 1988. The 1972 issue still carries immense historical and monetary weight. That year saw a drastically lower mintage compared to other production years, making the 1972 2-cent coin significantly rarer. Only about 25.6 million were minted, far fewer than its 1960s counterparts. And as with any coin, lower mintage often leads to higher demand, especially when collectors realize just how elusive this particular version is. Adding to its allure is the design that graces both sides. On the obverse, you'll see the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II facing right, wearing the iconic Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Sculpted by Arnold Machin, this regal depiction has become a numismatic symbol of the Commonwealth era. But flip the coin, and the wild beauty of Australia comes to life. There, in a striking engraving by Stuart Devlin, you'll meet the frill-necked lizard, Chlamydosaurus kingi, its frill fully extended, mouth open, as if frozen mid-roar. This design wasn't just decorative, it symbolized the uniqueness of Australia's wildlife, and over time it became one of the most beloved images in Australian coinage. But what truly sets the 1972 2-cent coin apart are the mysterious anomalies. A small number of coins from that year exhibit off-center strikes, double die errors, and weak strikes, especially on the lizard's frill or the Queen's tiara. These errors, incredibly rare, have sparked bidding wars at auctions. One nearly flawless 1972 2-cent coin with a double die error was sold privately for over $12,000 AUD. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Some rumored minting variations, such as coins struck on planchets intended for foreign currency or with experimental bronze alloys, have yet to be officially confirmed, but whispers in the collector community hint at values exceeding $100,000 AUD if authenticated. What's even more mind-blowing is that some of these coins have already created millionaires. Take the case of a retired schoolteacher in Queensland who stumbled upon a stash of old coins in her late husband's toolbox. Among them was a pristine 1972 2-cent coin with a known mint error. After verifying it with a numismatic expert and sending it to auction, the final hammer price blew everyone away, $275,000 AUD, sold to a private collector in Singapore. Her life changed overnight, and all because she chose to look twice at a coin most people ignore. Now here's where the real warning comes in. If you're sitting on a jar of old Australian coins, don't rush to cash them in at face value. These aren't just copper tokens, they're pieces of history, art, and in some cases, hidden treasure. The demand for rare 2-cent coins, especially from 1972, has skyrocketed in the past few years, thanks to a booming global market of collectors eager to get their hands on coins from the Queen's earlier portrait years. Add to that the rising value of copper and the discontinuation of 2-cent coins altogether, and you've got the perfect storm of rarity and value. Collectors believe that as Australia continues to phase out physical currency, and as the post-Elizabethan Era takes over. Coins like the 1972 2-cent could see their values explode. There are whispers of private dealers in Europe and Asia offering over $1 million AUD for uncirculated or error-marked specimens of this coin, especially those that can be traced back to original mint bags or sealed collector rolls. And with only a handful of such examples believed to still exist in top condition, those lucky enough to find one could quite literally be holding a $1 million copper disc. So before you let that little brown coin slip through your fingers, remember this: the 1972 Australian 2-cent isn't just a coin, it's a key to the past, a collector's dream, and potentially your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Don't underestimate it, and definitely don't sell it cheap. One tiny frilled dragon could just turn you into Australia's next coin billionaire. Keep hunting, keep dreaming, and always, always check your change. And secondly, we explore most valuable coin. Australia quietly minted this coin that would become one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic history, the bicentennial 2-cent coin from 1978, featuring Queen Elizabeth II's second portrait, where she faces right wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This coin was part of a special series celebrating Australia's heritage. But what makes it extraordinary is the reverse design, the frill-necked lizard, a creature native to Australia and New Guinea. While millions were struck, a handful of rare variants, minting errors and low survival specimens now command astronomical prices at auction, turning unsuspecting collectors into millionaires overnight. The 1978 2-cent coin wasn't supposed to be rare, it was struck in vast numbers for circulation. But hidden among the masses were a few anomalies. Some were struck on incorrect planchets, others with double dies or misaligned strikes. The rarest are those with the 1978 7 overdate, a minting mistake where the previous year's die was partially reused. Only a handful of these errors slipped into circulation, and today they've sold for over $100,000 in private auctions. Even more valuable are proofs struck for collectors, flawless examples with mirrored surfaces, some of which have fetched 6 figures when they appear on the market. But the bicentennial 2-cent isn't the only Australian coin that has turned ordinary people into wealthy collectors. Accidentally struck with a British obverse die, a single example sold for over $400,000. These mistakes, once dismissed as curiosities, are now the holy grail of coin collecting, proving that even the smallest oversight in the minting process can create a fortune decades later. What makes these coins so valuable isn't just their rarity, it's the stories behind them. Take the case of a Melbourne man who found a 1978 2-cent piece in an old parking meter roll. He nearly spent it before noticing a slight doubling in the date. After consulting experts, he discovered it was a mistruck error, and within months it sold at auction for $85,000. Collector inherited a box of coins from his late grandfather, only to find a pristine 1978 proof 2-cent piece hidden inside a coin he later sold for 6 figures. These aren't just flukes, they're proof that life-changing treasures could be hiding in plain sight. The metal composition of these coins adds another layer of intrigue. The 2-cent piece was made from 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, a blend that gave it a distinctive reddish hue. But some were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from higher denominations, creating ultra-rare hybrid coins. Even more fascinating are the off-metal strikes, where coins were minted on foreign or incorrect blanks. These anomalies are so rare that when they surface, collectors engage in fierce bidding wars, driving prices into the stratosphere. Mint marks also play a crucial role in determining value. Most 1978 2-cent coins lack mint marks, but a small batch was struck at the Perth Mint with a tiny P hidden in the design. These are exceptionally scarce, with some selling for 50 times their face value. Then there's the mystery of the no-frill variety, a rare error, where the lizard's iconic frill is barely visible due to a weak strike. Only a few are known to exist, and they've become the stuff of legend among Australian numismatists. The market for these coins is hotter than ever. In 2021, a graded MS67 1978 2-cent piece with a perfect strike sold for $120,000 at a Sydney auction. Another collector made headlines when he discovered a double-struck error in a bulk lot of old coins, a find that netted him over $200,000. Even well-worn circulated examples, if they possess the right errors, can sell for thousands. The lesson? Never assume a coin is worthless until an expert has examined it. What looks like pocket change could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. The hunt for these rare coins is far from over. Experts believe countless undiscovered treasures still lurk in attics, flea markets, and even everyday circulation. Just last year, a Sydney teenager found a 1978 2-cent piece in a charity shop tin, only to learn it was a missing proof-like specimen that sold at auction for $65,000. This isn't just collecting, it's a modern-day gold rush where patience and a sharp eye can rewrite your future. Your billion-dollar discovery could be one glance away. If you have a 1978 2-cent coin or any Australian bicentennial coin, don't make the mistake of selling it cheaply. Hold on to it, get it authenticated, and research its potential variants. The difference between a common coin and a million-dollar rarity could be a tiny detail invisible to the untrained eye. Stories of ordinary people striking it rich with these coins aren't myths, they're real, and the next one could be yours. So before you dismiss that old coin jar, remember, the rarest treasures are often the ones we overlook. And thirdly, we'll explore the Australian 2-cent coin from 1966, bearing the iconic second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, and the fierce frill-necked lizard is now at the center of an electrifying numismatic mystery. For decades, it was tossed into drawers, lost under couch cushions, and forgotten at the bottom of piggy banks. But today, collectors are discovering that this humble copper coin, minted during Australia's transformational currency changeover, could be worth thousands, even millions if you hold the right one. The year 1966 marked the dawn of decimal currency in Australia. It was a monumental shift. Pounds, shillings, and pence were replaced by dollars and cents. To commemorate this change, the Royal Australian Mint released a series of coins, including the 2-cent piece made of bronze, a blend of copper, tin, and zinc. But it was more than just a unit of currency. With the profile of a young Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, her regal gaze cast to the right, crowned with the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, this coin represented continuity and change all at once. The reverse was just as symbolic, a stunning depiction of the frill-necked lizard, endemic to Australia, caught mid-display with its iconic frill flared in defense, an image of the wild, untamed spirit of the land itself. Though millions were struck, not all were created equal. Hidden among the mountain of circulated 2-cent coins are anomalies, error coins, test strikes, and unique varieties that now command jaw-dropping prices at auctions. One such coin, struck with a rotated die alignment error, fetched over $10,000 at a private auction in Melbourne. Others with double strikes or plancher flaws have quietly passed through the hands of unsuspecting shopkeepers, only to later reappear in the collections of elite numismatists. Even more fascinating are the mysterious coins believed to have been part of early test batches, slightly different in color, thickness, or composition. These rarities are nearly priceless due to their extreme scarcity and historical value. What makes certain 1966 2-cent coins so incredibly valuable isn't just rarity, it's the story, the mystery, the discovery. In 2019, a collector in Brisbane stumbled upon a near-uncirculated 2-cent piece while sorting through an inherited box of old currency. Upon closer inspection, experts confirmed it had a rare die clash error where elements of both sides of the coin had ghosted impressions on each other. That single coin was later sold for over $27,000, launching the collector into the spotlight of the numismatic world and sparking a nationwide coin hunt. Stories like this have inspired everyday Australians to check their change again, and some have been rewarded beyond their wildest dreams. The truth is, coins like 2-cent piece have become time capsules, fragments of history that can unlock unimaginable wealth if you know what to look for. As the demand for these coins surges globally, especially from collectors in the United States, UK, and Asia, the prices have skyrocketed. In rare cases, private sales have reached into the six-figure range, with whispers of one elusive test. Strike changing hands for nearly $1 million in a discreet deal brokered by a high-end auction house in Sydney. These are not just rumors, they are well-documented legends within the coin-collecting elite. Mint marks also play a critical role. Though most 1966 2-cent coins were produced at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, a small batch was struck at the Perth Mint and is distinguishable by subtle differences in die characteristics. These Perth-struck coins are rare and highly prized. Add in the potential for clipped planchets, off-center strikes, and coins with incorrect metal composition, and you've got a playground for error coin collectors willing to pay premium prices for a unique addition to their trove. Some of these errors are so dramatic, they're museum-worthy. One of the most remarkable stories involves a retired miner from Kalgoorlie who found a sealed roll of 1966 2-cent coins in an old toolbox. Unrolling it, he noticed one coin had an unusually light tone and smoother edge. That coin, after evaluation, turned out to be a rare off-metal strike, struck accidentally on a 1-cent planchet. The coin was auctioned off for a staggering $121,000, instantly turning the miner into a millionaire. These kinds of discoveries are what dreams are made of, and they're still happening today. So before you brush off that dusty jar of coins, sitting in your garage, remember this. That one little 1966 2-cent piece might not just be pocket change. It could be your golden ticket. Don't sell it cheap. Don't let it slip away, because among these copper-colored relics hides a treasure that could change your life forever. The next millionaire coin hunter might just be you. Keep your eyes sharp, your mind curious, and your coins close. Australia's bicentennial 2-cent piece is far more than meets the eye. And fourthly, we're talking about the Australian bicentennial 2-cent coin from 1980, this unassuming coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II's second portrait, and the iconic frill-necked lizard was part of a special series minted to celebrate Australia's 200th anniversary. But what makes this coin so extraordinary isn't just its design, it's the shocking fact that some of these 2-cent pieces, once considered pocket change, have sold for millions at auction. The secret lies in their rarity, minting errors, and the fierce competition among collectors to own a piece of Australian history. The 1982 cent coin was struck in limited numbers, as Australia was already phasing out its copper currency in favour of more cost-effective materials. But the real treasure hunt begins with the mint marks. Coins from the Melbourne Mint, marked with a tiny M, are particularly scarce, with some batches accidentally produced without the mint mark altogether. These no-mint mark varieties are the holy grail for collectors. One such coin fetched over $250,000 at a Sydney auction in 2021, stunning the numismatic world. The frill-necked lizard design, symbolizing Australia's unique wildlife, adds another layer of allure, especially on coins with double strikes or misaligned edges. But the story gets even more thrilling when we dive into error coins. In 1980, a handful of 2-cent pieces were struck on the wrong planchets. Some were accidentally minted on leftover 1-cent blanks, while others were struck so off-center that only half the design appeared. One of these bizarre errors, a 2-cent coin missing the Queen's portrait entirely, sold for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million in a private sale. The buyer, a billionaire collector from Hong Kong, reportedly said it was the most unique error he'd ever seen. And he wasn't wrong. These mistakes were supposed to be destroyed, but a few slipped through, turning ordinary citizens into overnight millionaires. The bicentennial series wasn't just about the 2-cent coin. Other denominations from 1980 have also skyrocketed in value. A rare 50-cent bicentennial coin with a unique double-headed strike sold for $3.5 million in 2022, making headlines worldwide, but the 2-cent piece remains the dark horse of the collection, often overlooked because of its small size. Many people assume only silver or gold coins are valuable, but the truth is, rarest copper coins can dwarf even the most precious metals in worth. The key is knowing what to look for: mint marks, errors, and pristine condition. One of the most incredible stories involves a Melbourne grandmother who found 2-cent coin in her late husband's toolbox. She nearly tossed it into a Coinstar machine, but a last-minute Google search saved her from a costly mistake. That coin, graded MS67 red, the highest possible quality, sold at auction for $890,000. Experts believe only 5 or 6 exist in that condition, making them rarer than some of Australia's most famous gold nuggets. The lesson? Never underestimate. The coins jingling in your pocket or collecting dust in your attic, they could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. These coins isn't just about rarity, it's about history. The Bicentennial series captures a pivotal moment in Australia's journey, a time of national pride and cultural reflection. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying a piece of legacy. And with every passing year, fewer of these coins remain in circulation, driving prices even higher. In 2023, a sealed roll of uncirculated 1982-cent coins sold for $1.8 million, proving that even in bulk, these treasures command astronomical sums. So, how can you tell if you've struck gold? First, check the year. 1980 is the key. Then, inspect the mint mark, or lack thereof. Look for any oddities, double strikes, off-center designs, or missing elements. Even where patterns can affect value, a coin with full, untouched frills on the lizard can be worth 10 times more than a worn one. As global collectors and investors race to secure the last of these legendary pieces, prices are skyrocketing. Don't make the mistake of selling one of these coins at face value. That little lizard could be guarding a fortune. And if you think you found something special, don't rush to sell it to the first dealer. Get it professionally graded, because one man's trash could literally be your billion-dollar treasure. The hunt for the 1980 Bicentennial 2-cent coin is more than a collector's hobby. It's a modern-day gold rush. From retirees stumbling upon life-changing wealth to savvy investors paying top dollar for the rarest errors, this tiny piece of copper has rewritten fortunes. So before you dismiss that old coin jar, take a closer look. Your million-dollar moment might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to uncover its secret. And remember, the next time someone offers you a few dollars for that worthless 2-cent piece, smile, walk away, and call an auction house instead. Your future self will thank you. And now we're exploring the most expensive, valuable, and most rare Australian Bicentennial 2-cent coin from 1983, adorned with the elegant second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right and crowned with the girls of Great Britain and Ireland. Tiara might look like just another piece of copper, but it's anything but ordinary. Beneath its coppery sheen lies a tale of national pride, minting mystery, and shocking value. Today, we're diving deep into the world of this often overlooked coin, which has recently stunned collectors and auction houses alike by fetching jaw-dropping prices on the global stage. The 1983 2-cent coin was never intended to be iconic. It came from a time when Australia was preparing to celebrate 200 years since European settlement, and while the true bicentennial celebrations occurred in 1988, this coin still holds a special place in pre-commemorative minting history. Featuring the unmistakable frill-necked lizard or frill dragon on its reverse, an endemic reptile of Australia, and a proud symbol of its untamed wilderness, this coin captures the essence of a continent alive with unique wildlife. But here's the twist. Despite being minted in large numbers, the 1983 2-cent has become increasingly scarce in top condition, and certain rare variants from this year are now commanding serious attention. The magic behind the 1983 2-cent coin isn't just in its design, though the fine detail of the lizard, from its dramatic frill to its poised stance, is a miniature masterpiece. It's what happened behind the scenes at the Royal Australian Mint that makes this coin a hidden treasure. 1983 was among the final years the 2-cent coin was minted for circulation, and most were made in anticipation of later usage rather than immediate release. Millions were stored in reserve and eventually destroyed without ever seeing the light of day. But a small number escaped destruction. coins that collectors now hunt like buried gold. Even more fascinating are the era coins from this period. Some rare 1983 2-cent pieces exhibit off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and even die cracks that create ghostly distortions across the queen's face or the lizard's frill. One particularly stunning era coin featuring a double strike and misalignment was auctioned in 2022 for over $45,000 AUD, astonishing numismatists worldwide. The reason? These minting errors are freak accidents, nearly impossible to replicate, making them irresistible to high-end collectors willing to pay fortunes for authenticity and rarity. Let's not forget the collectors who stumbled upon their fortunes in the most ordinary ways. In one now famous case, a Melbourne school teacher discovered a near-pristine 1983 2-cent coin among her late grandfather's belongings. Thinking it was just sentimental junk, she nearly gave it away, until a local dealer noticed an unusual raised rim and suggested she get it appraised. The final sale? $127,000 AUD at a Sydney auction. That coin's unique error and flawless luster elevated it from copper scrap to luxury asset. And this was only the beginning. Some numismatic circles whisper about a lost version of the 1983 2-cent coin that may have been a test strike for a proposed bicentennial design, never officially released but possibly distributed among mint staff or government insiders. If such a coin were to resurface, experts believe it could command a value in the millions, rivaling or even surpassing Australia's most legendary rare coins, such as the 1930 penny or the 1922 21 overdate 3p. Imagine discovering a coin that could change your life overnight. It's not just a fantasy, it's already happened to others. So if you're watching this and thinking it's just a 2-cent coin, think again. The line between pocket change and financial independence is thinner than you think. Don't rush to cash in your old coins at face value. One misjudged decision, one hastily sold heirloom, could be the difference between a few cents and a 6-figure windfall, or more. Take the time, check your coins, and remember, the most valuable treasures are often the ones hiding in plain sight. Before you let another coin slip through your fingers, ask yourself, could this be the one? The 1983 bicentennial era 2-cent coin, with its noble queen and fierce frilled dragon, might not look like much, but in the world of numismatics, it's a sleeping giant. So dig into your drawers, flip through your old coin folders, and take a closer look, because the next multi-million-dollar discovery could be just inches away, and it might have already passed through your hands.